You're locked into Inception Radio Network, Superior, Wisconsin.
Your host of California MUFON Radio, Lorien Fenton.
Welcome, everyone, to the California MUFON Radio Show. I'm your host, Lorien Fenton. So happy you're all here with me tonight. It's going to be an interesting ride. We have some fun people for us this evening to be interviewed. We have a gentleman by the name of Wiley, and I don't have in front of me his information, but he's doing some amazing stuff on TruthFunders.com right now, and it's about this little, I think it's a movie about trolls that time travel. So that's going to be a lot of fun. We're going to talk to him for about a half an hour this evening, and then we're going to talk to Jose Escamilla in the last hour of the show tonight. So stand by; it's going to be a wonderful show. I'm really excited because I'm dedicating the show tonight to TruthFunders.com. And I want to tell you guys a little bit about them. But before I do, I need to let you know that I'm going to be speaking at the LA Conscious Life Expo, not this Sunday, but the following Sunday. I believe it's the 8th. Maybe that's 2 Sundays from now. I'm not sure. I gotta go look. But I'll be speaking on the 8th. And I'll be speaking at 5 p.m. and I'm going to be talking about super soldiers, the helicopters, the MyLabs, and then how I've completely taken that whole experience and spent 3.5 years delving into that rabbit hole, and how it has led me from one rabbit hole over into another one that's got even more doors at the bottom of it. It's mind-boggling, you guys. I don't even know how to describe it, but I truly have come to the conclusion that we are living in like 45 different phenomenons happening all at once. And between them all is a thread that connects everything that we see on the spectrum, from alien abduction to UFOs to the men who shot Kennedy to the time travel guys. I mean, it's like there's a giant spider web. I always say this, and in the center is the answer. And the answer may just be that it's all in our heads, and the people that, or the AI, or the people, or the aliens, or the whatever that developed our consciousness, are tapping into our consciousness, or we're tapping into theirs, I don't know which, are in control of everything we see, do, or think. And I know that sounds crazy. You guys, believe me, some days I lay in bed going, I must be nuts thinking all this stuff. But the reality is something bizarre is going on out there, and the center of that spider web has got to be consciousness. That has got to be the key here. And, you know, I get a lot of questions about the super soldiers, and I get questions about MyLabs. I get questions about the reptilians, and I get questions about UFOs. And, you know, I get all these questions, and people go, oh, I'm being controlled. This is happening to me. And, blah, blah, blah. And you know what, folks? I'm to the point now where I say to them, doesn't matter. Who cares? You're the person that's got to be in control of your mind. You've got to be in control of what's going on in your head, because that's where it's all happening. If you're allowing any type of extra dimensional entities or any of this stuff happening to you, it's because you're letting it. You know, there's There's a whole place where I've gotten to that just basically says, I can keep everything out as long as I have control over my mind. And, that's the mastery. And that's what the Buddha has said. That's what the monks say over in Tibet. That's where everybody's been coming from. And what's cracking me up about this whole conclusion thing that I'm coming to is that when I was 13 years old, I was given the book Be Here Now by Baba Ram Dass. And, it's all come back to that. I'm 57, so 44 years later, I'm back to Be Here Now, because basically he was preaching that in the book. It's basically get into your head and use your head and be in control of your mind. And there you go. And I'm cracking up because it's all come full circle for me. So anyhow, that's what I wanted to just mention is that I'll be speaking about all that at the Conscious Life Expo. So if you're in the LA area on February 8th, it's at the Hilton Hotel, LAX Hilton Hotel, and it's going to be an amazing event. So check it out. It's at consciouslifeexpo.com. Okay, that's number one. Number two, okay, the next thing I'm going to be speaking. Now, I won't be speaking at it. They haven't asked me yet. Someday they might. International UFO Congress is coming up, and I just had Joe put up a big banner on the webpage, so you can click on that, and it'll take you right to International UFO Congress. I think it's ufocongress.com is the website, if I remember correctly. And let me see. The banner's going to go flying by me here any minute. I'll check it out and be sure I get it to you guys. But anyhow, it's going to be great this year because, oh boy, what is his name? Oh, it's escaped me again. And this is the second week in a row it's escaped me. I'm going to have to go to the website and find out. Okay, it is the guy who went to oh boy, somebody help me. UFO Congress. Okay, you guys can hear me type at ufocongress.com. Okay, so the speakers, the big time speaker that's going to be there, that's going to blow everybody's mind. Okay, I'll get there. Speakers page. Ooh, view. Cool. Like that. Okay, getting warm. Bob Lazar. Ah, yay, Bob Lazar. Why can't I ever remember that name? It's such a unique name, my God. He's going to talk about Area 51. He's going to do a Q&A. George Knapp is going to introduce him and talk a lot about Bob and Area 51. So that is, to me, that's like the holy grail because everybody thought he was a crackpot and I always believed him because I just, even if it's all in his head, he believed it. So I believed it with him. So I gave him a lot of kudos and I'm just really happy he's coming out and talking about these things because, John Lear, I was sitting in John Lear's house in May of 2013. And I asked John, I said, what did you think about Bob? And he said to me, he goes, Bob was always telling the truth from what he knew. So, if John, believed him, I don't see why I shouldn't have believed him as well. So, there's many detractors out there. And if you guys want to argue with me about it, or you want to say, Lorien, you're a nut job for believing him and all that, then that's fine. I don't mind that. And maybe I'm wrong. Maybe he lied about the whole thing. But boy, I'm telling you, folks, from the things I've heard over the years from different people, and especially from my good friend Stu Webb and his buddies out at Area 51, Stu may be kind of the wild man of radio out there in the veterans world. And he may be just one of those guys that kind of just goes off and talks about all kinds of stuff and demons. And he's just into the whole demon thing. But that guy knows people, folks. And the people that come to him have told him some amazing stuff. And he's been kind enough to share a lot of it with me. So I do know that there were other people out at Area 51 who were complaining about the same kind of mind wipe that was going on with Bob Lazar. So I just have to throw that out there for you all to know that. That's why I believe it, because I've had too many other people tell me the same thing. And I have a good friend, and I've said this on the show before, a very good friend here in Northern California that used to work at a base. And he swears to me he doesn't remember days of leaving the base. He'd get home, and he'd go, what did I do at work today? He remembered going in the front door. He remembered doing something. And they'd talk to him and say, go do something. And then at that point, it goes blank. And then all he remembers was going through this certain kind of exit at the base. And then he'd get home and he'd go, what happened today? And he couldn't remember a darn thing. But, what was he going to do? It didn't happen every day. It happened a lot of days, though. So there you go. So anyhow, I just think Bob's going to be very interesting to hear him speak at International UFO Congress. It is ufocongress.com. I will be there Wednesday doing a live broadcast for IRN. I'm planning on Thursday afternoon, Friday afternoon, and Saturday afternoon doing live broadcast as well. Hopefully we'll be able to get a stream going for both networks that I'm at, and maybe even a TV camera. We'll see. And I'm going to be interviewing all the speakers there, plus all the experiencers there, as many people as I can get in there. And we'll just go and go and go and see what we can do. And it'll be a lot of fun. So I do hope that you guys, if you can make it there, if you're planning on going, please come up to me and tell me hello and say that you listened to me on IRN. I'd really love to meet you. And I'd possibly interview you right there on the spot. Who knows? It'll be a lot of fun. So I'll be at International UFO Congress, and that is February 18th through the 22nd. Okay, so now that leads me to TruthFunders.com and my conference, which is UFOCon 2015, and that's the website, UFOCon2015.com. And that is going to be held March 28th and 29th in Santa Clara, California. That'll be a fun conference. If you guys can make it to that one, I guarantee you a fun time. Absolutely fun and amazing time, because I'm going to have Plutronus is going to be there. Some of the people that have been on my radio show are going to be there. It's going to be really quite extraordinary, I got to say. And the thing about my conferences, you guys, is that we all get together and eat, and we all hang out together, and it's more of 150 people hanging out together. We don't break up into these we do break up into littler groups, but everybody's talking to everybody. It just has more of a feeling of camaraderie because it's small. And there's just a lot of fun at my conference. So I do hope you can make it if you can. Santa Clara, California, March 28th and 29th. And the website is UFOCon2015.com. Okay, now the fourth and final announcement is they've changed the MUFON Symposium to September this year in Irvine, California. Now I've got to go to the MUFON site. You guys, I just walked in the door from work, so I'm just like, I went and got a cup of coffee instead of loading up the websites. So I should have done that. Boy, I feel bad. I'm going to have to spank myself. Okay, MUFON.com. Let's see. Let's go to the conference. I hope they have the conference up. Oh, I don't see it yet. Interesting. Okay, where is it? Well, this is bothering me. Well, anyhow, I know it's going to be in Irvine, California. I know it's going to be at the Atrium Hotel. It is the third weekend of September, I believe, the 23rd, 24th, around that time. And it should just be obvious here on the site, but it's not. I don't know why. Hold on. I'm going to check one more time, see if I'm missing something. Okay, I can't find it, but that's just me. We'll find it at some point. Maybe it's on a banner going across. That's probably where it's at. Okay, I'll just sit here and wait for it to come. Oh, there, I saw something about the symposium. Okay. Well, anyhow, so that was my final announcement for the night. Okay, so we're through the conferences. We're getting somewhere next. Okay, here we go. I'm going to introduce to you all Mark Schwartz. He's a friend of mine, a good friend of mine, actually, and he is the founder of TruthFunders.com. Mark, are you with us?
I am.
Oh, there you are. Hey, wonderful. It's so good to hear your voice. How are you doing?
Yeah, I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing good. I had like a plethora of conferences to get through here tonight announcing.
Oh, it's quite all right.
Oh my gosh, it's crazy. But yeah, a lot of fun. I'm actually trying to get out there and speak more, and I'm petrified and I hate doing it. But so many people have asked me to do it, so I'm forcing myself to have to do it. You know, Mark, I never was going to be a radio talk show host. I have a speech impediment, and I've had all these things going on.
I've never heard you with a speech impediment. I think I have much more of a speech impediment than you.
I'm so glad, because when I was a kid, I had to go to a speech therapist, and it was one of those things that was kind of bizarre. So as growing up, the last thing on my mind was ever to become a radio talk show host. I was a professional dancer. We kept our mouth shut. We weren't talking on stage. It was great. I loved it. And I was a musician for a while. I was a potter. I did all these things that were very artsy, but they certainly weren't talking. So this has become quite a big thing for me. So having to get out there and speak at the conferences is just kind of like, whoa, okay, somebody's propelling me to do this, because I certainly would not have chose it for myself. I'm not like, Stanton Friedman or Richard Dolan or any of these guys that, that are just like, yeah, I'll speak. I'll be at your conference. I'll talk, and they can go on for hours,
Right. But you know what I think? I think you're the everyman. And you ask questions that the everyman thinks, and sometimes those questions are strange, and sometimes they're not, and sometimes they're cool, and it's like you're doing what we're all thinking, and you're just asking people questions, and it's okay,
Thank you.
So
I
that's
really
why
appreciate that, because I have days where I just go, why am I doing this?
I think we all have those days. I've had one of those days today.
Yeah, I hear you. Well, anyhow, let's move on. Let's talk about TruthFunders. Now, I think I've mentioned it here on this radio show before, and I think we've had you on for, a few minutes talking about UFOcon, but let's dig deep into TruthFunders tonight, because we're going to have one of the gentlemen who's doing a movie. Is it a movie? Is it a documentary or a movie?
Yeah, well, there's both. There's a documentary, and there's also a movie. TruthFunders really, what it is a crowdfunding platform. A lot of people might not know what that is, and I'm coming to realize that. I live in Silicon Valley, and living there, where it's the tech bubble, so we all talk tech. It's like living in Hollywood and talking film. Everybody knows everybody, and everybody talks about, different people or directors, and you're supposed to know them. And when you live in Silicon Valley, you talk tech, and it's just sort of normal because it's all around you. But I think not everybody knows what crowdfunding is. Or, if they do know what crowdfunding is, like they've heard of it before, but they're not quite sure how it works. And so how it generally works is that, I have an idea for a project. Maybe it's an invention. Maybe I want to write a book. So I had some crazy alien experience or something, and I really feel the need to tell the story, and I want to write a book. But I don't have the time to sit there and do that, because I have to work, and I need money in order to, do whatever I need to on Amazon in order to get the book published. I need to have the time in order to actually write the book. There's all these things that are stopping me from doing it. Or maybe somebody has an invention and they want to build the invention, but they need all the parts and pieces, the labor. They want to test something, see if it works, and if it does work, they want to bring it to the world. What crowdfunding does is it allows that person to actually take their idea and put it up online and say to people, it's not begging for money. You're not begging for money. You're saying, hey, I have this great idea, and you can help me. You can support me. And you ask for donations. And there's different levels of donations. And so, let's say I'm just a random person, and I'm on truthfunders.com, which is a specific site of crowdfunding just for the paranormal. And I love UFOs, and I see that there's this great book about, this person's experience. And I want to read that book. And so I want to help them maintain their goal of getting $2,000 or whatever it might be in order for them to create that book. Well, I can then go ahead and donate $5, $10, $25, $100. And what I get for donating really depends on what the reward is. But there's a reward for donating. So not only are you helping somebody with their project, helping create and spread the idea of, the idea of the paranormal and the entertainment idea of it, the real spirituality idea of it, But then you're also getting something in return for helping. So it's sort of a karmatic thing as well. So that's how crowdfunding works.
And I love that about it. The whole karma part, you know? Hey, it's kind of like, you know, I get these from the Humane Society of America and the Marin Humane Society. I get all these like kind of requests by email. And you know what? I always do it because I figure I owe the animals on this planet at least $20. And I give Mozilla my $20 a year, and I give my Wikipedia my 25, or, you know, whatever, just to keep them going. And you know what's interesting, Mark, is that even on Mozilla, on the, you know, the Firefox homepage, when they were running their annual fundraiser, basically they were saying if everybody here gave $3 that, you know, opens this browser, because, you know what, like 20 million people open the browser a day. Right. If they all just give $1 or $3, they would have been done in 1 hour raising the money they needed to run the company for a year.
It's incredible. And that's, you know, that can happen. And especially with a project like TruthFunders. And why I actually made TruthFunders was during the day, you know, during my normal job, you know, I listen to podcasts. I listen to your podcast. I listen to all sorts of great podcasts out there. All sorts of radio shows, you know, the classic ones, the ones that everybody knows, the ones that nobody knows about, but things dealing with the paranormal. And I would just hear about people struggle saying, yeah, we're so close to figuring this out, but we don't have the money to do the DNA testing that we need. Or we're so close to making this movie, but we don't have the money to make the movie. And I'm just tired of hearing that. I'm so tired of hearing that. And so I want people to do something about it. And I want them to go ahead and know that there's a place for them, that they can create this, you know, and it's for go-getters. It really is a place for go-getters, because you create your project and you put it up there, and you know, not everybody donates, but if people just shared your project on Facebook, like, I don't have $5 to donate to your project, but I really like this idea, so I'm going to share it on my Facebook wall. Well, then 10 other people, 20 other people see it, and maybe one of those people wants to donate to it because they're your friends and they share the same interests. So it really is. It's such a cool idea, and I just want it to grow, and I want it to be the place for the, you know, people from the paranormal world come to help each other out, to help each other's ideas, because these big places that are out there that have hundreds of thousands of projects, these other crowdfunding platforms, they kick the paranormal to the curb. A lot of times they keep them grounded, they keep them down. You know, some of the stuff gets up there. Every once in a while, you'll get, you know, a video game or something like that deals with aliens. That Kickstarter or one of the other companies will pick that up, but it's so rare. And here, it's just like a showcase. It's a choir of bizarre, excellent, cool, paranormal ideas, and you can look at it by category. So if you like UFOs, you can click on the UFO tab and see what projects people are doing about UFOs. Are there UFO detectors? Is someone writing a book on UFOs? Is someone creating a documentary on a particular UFO case? You can click on Bigfoot and see, you know, what people are doing about Bigfoot. So it's not necessarily by, you know, movie or book. It's more about genre and what you like and what you connect with in the world of the paranormal.
Awesome. Now we're getting up to where we're going to have a break here in just a minute, but Mark, can you stay with me for like 3 or 4 minutes after the break and introduce the troll time travel guy?
The toll, yeah, absolutely.
The toll. It's not a troll, it's a toll.
I'll definitely
okay, great. So everybody stay with us, and Mark Schwartz will introduce our next person from TruthFunders, and we'll be right back.
Locked into Inception Radio Network, Superior, Wisconsin. Don't have a computer? Is your internet connection down? Don't worry. Use your trusty cell phone or landline and call into our listen line at 401-283-6700 to listen to the Inception Radio Network 24/7. Again, that call-in number is 401-283-6700. For the Inception Radio Network, I am MJ.
Hi, Inception Radio Network listeners. This is Amanda. Just a reminder that Inception Radio Network is on Twitter. Follow us at I_R_N and keep up to date about who's on tonight, what interviews they'll be doing, who's guest spotting, what topics they'll be covering. Tweet to us, tweet about us, retweet topics to your friends, and most importantly, never miss a great show again. That's I_R_N.
Do you have a smartphone? If so, Inception Radio Network is the best app for you. Available on iTunes, Android, Samsung, and most other app stores. Just search Inception Radio Network. With the app you can listen live, check out podcasts of recent and past shows, view our videos, see what shows are coming up, who the guests are, and, via the chat room, send live questions to those guests. You know it makes sense. Check your app store now. Inception Radio Network. I'll see you there. Are you a fan of Inception Radio Network? Do you reckon it's the best alternative talk radio station on the planet? Well, if you do, head to facebook.com/Inception Radio Network and like the page. Tell your friends, spread the word, and keep listening to the best.
Hello, everyone. Lorien Fenton here, host of the California MUFON Radio Show, asking if you'd like special access to exclusive and amazing information about UFOs, the paranormal, and all things unexplained. If you're nodding yes, then join IRN's Insider Club. As an Insider Club member, you'll get an all-access pass to premier Inception Radio Network content for only $4.99 a month. This includes live UFO and paranormal conferences, live streaming UFO skywatches, exclusive IRN radio and TV productions, and of course, paying radio with MJ and Ken Storch. So don't wait any longer. Visit InceptionRadioNetwork.com and click on Member Login to join IRN's Insider Club and get your VIP access today. Welcome back, everyone, to the California MUFON Radio Show. I'm your host, Lorien Fenton. We're here on Inception Radio Network, and I hope you guys have all got your app now because, you know, they're free, and they keep you informed about what goes on here at Inception Radio Network. And the best part is you can also listen to all the broadcasts on your cell phone. It is fun, and you can get into the archives and listen to them. You can do everything on your cell phone now. Who needs a computer? That's what I say. If I didn't need one for work, I probably wouldn't even own one anymore. So there you are. So get your app because it's super important that you do that. And the second thing you need to do is you need to join the Insiders Club because there's going to be all kinds of fun stuff coming up there this year. I'm already planning on doing some special interviews at International UFO Congress for you guys that are going to only show up in the Insiders Club, and they're going to be pretty darn cool. So be sure to do that. It's only $5 a month at the Insiders Club. I think it's $4.95. Maybe it's $5.95. I don't know what it is, but it's cheap, and it's well worth the money, and you get to listen to all of the cool stuff that we're going to be throwing in there this year. So please join if you can. It supports the network and keeps us all on air. So let's see. I think I got a little message from MJ. Oh, $4.99. Thank you, MJ. I really appreciate that. I knew it was close to $5. Okay, so we're back on. We're talking about TruthFunders, and Mark is with us. So, Mark, can you introduce our next guest here about TruthFunders.com and tell the world who he is?
So this is Wiley Herman. Say hello, Wiley.
Hey, how's it going?
Good. Wiley is creating a project. We do all sorts of projects with TruthFunders. There is real documentaries, real paranormal research, and then there's also, you know, the idea of science fiction, and we welcome that, and the genre of horror and the paranormal and ghosts. We welcome that too. So what Wiley has done is started a short film, which is just fantastic. And if you go to truthfunders.com and you click on his project, The Toll, it's spelled TheToll, you can actually play a video and you can see what they've done and how far they've come creating this movie. So I'll sort of let Wiley talk about The Toll. What The Toll means is really interesting, and sort of the concept of the film and what he hopes to do with it.
Great. Should I just take it from here?
Yeah, you should take it from here. I'm going to actually drop off for a little bit, but I'll be right back, you guys.
And I'll be asking the questions from here on out, Wiley.
It is your show.
Okay, we'll see you in a bit, Mark.
All right, thanks, guys.
Okay, so Wiley, hi, are you there?
Yeah, still here.
Wonderful. Well, I got some interesting behind-the-scenes information about you and the Chainsaw Massacre on the break, which I thought was quite funny. Yeah, and go ahead. If you don't mind telling the story about how you met Mark and how you guys were working out together on whatever it is you were doing for the play of the Chainsaw Massacre.
Well, we actually met in college in Tucson, Arizona, and we did a pretty cheeseball play together. I think it was called Attack of the Killer Space Zombies, which kind of set our relationship into motion. And he played an alien, I think. Yeah, he played an alien. I played like the dumb jock character. It was a really fun, campy show. Years later, we just happened to both move out to the San Francisco Bay Area together, and we've crossed paths many times. I ended up understudying for him in a show called the Texas Chainsaw Massacres, which was a live reenactment of the original film, and it was known for just covering the audience with fake blood. So audience members would wear like all white just to be covered with blood. It was a really fun show.
That's hysterical. Now, did you guys do that in San Francisco?
Oh yeah. It's a group called the Primitive Screwheads. They do all kinds of reenactments of famous movies, Evil Dead, Chainsaw Massacres, you name it.
Now, this is something I didn't know about Mark, but this explains a lot. Now, I got to tell you.
His deep dark secret has now been revealed.
Well, wonderful. Now, let's start talking about how, we know now why and how you found out about TruthFunders. So that's great because Mark probably told you about it at some point.
Yes.
Okay, great. So tell us what your project is and what it's around, what the whole movie is. Is it a documentary or is it a feature film? Is it a cartoon style? What is it?
It's a short film. So we were framing it around the length of an old Twilight Zone episode. I've always loved the old Twilight Zone episodes. And if you go and watch modern sci-fi shorts, if you find any online, a lot of them are really beautifully well done and very compelling, but they don't tell a full story. Most of them just seem like extended trailers, and they're a very obvious bid to try to turn it into a feature. So I was really frustrated with the amount of short films that looked beautiful and sounded beautiful, but didn't tell any kind of real coherent story. Usually just like an extended chase sequence with, robots and lasers. Looked beautiful, no story. So starting from there, I said, okay, I want to write a really, really good 23-minute Twilight Zone length short film. So starting from that, I went to one of my favorite periods of time, which is the 1940s, World War II. So I thought, okay, how can I make a sci-fi film set in World War II? So starting with that, I started to develop a character who was a corporal in the Army, a radio operator with a signal corps. And the movie begins with him mourning the loss of his wife at sea. She was a Navy nurse. So it's VE Day. It's the last day of the war. And we filmed out at the Presidio National Park. There's a really beautiful historic World War II cannon out there. It's called Battery Chamberlain. So we actually...
I know exactly where it is, my friend. Yes, I do. Yep.
Isn't it cool? You have the Pacific Ocean. You have these beautiful bunkers. You have this restored cannon. So I'm like, I have to film something here. So we started with the location and the concept. It was just simple. This guy mourning the loss of his wife at sea. From there, it led to our hero, Wes Morris is his name. He confronts a mysterious stranger in a trench coat filming the Golden Gate Bridge with a 16mm camera. this guy turns out to be from parallel 1945 where the Nazis won. So this guy himself in our 1945, which leads them both to this parallel 1945 where the Nazis won. So we're exploring the concept of, what if we lost? What if the Nazis won? What would our 1945 look like?
That's amazing. I love it. So now this is all involving kind of like parallel dimensions and time travel, or both, or one or the other, or
it's parallel universes, alternate history. It's a genre that's explored a lot in literature, but you don't see a lot of films, especially period films, that involve parallel universes. There's a new TV series on Amazon, The Man in the High Castle, which was based on a Philip K. Dick novel.
Oh, God, my favorite author of all time, I got to tell you.
But it's funny because I actually never read that book, and I was kind of familiar with it, but their version takes place in the 1960s. So ours is 1945. Theirs is, what happened 20 years after the Nazis won in America. So if you're into that kind of story, this is really a really fun way to explore it, which, again, isn't seen a lot on film.
Wow, this is going to be really cool. Now, how long is a short film? Is it like a half an hour, 20 minutes?
Again, we're aiming for around 23 minutes, which, again, is the length of a regular TV series or a sitcom length, 23 standard minutes. Most short films run between 5 and 12 minutes for most festivals. So we kind of realized going into it that the only films that get shown in festivals that are above 18, 20 minutes have to be really, really high quality. So we really went out of the way to make sure we hired a professional cast, professional crew. We're shooting on the Red Epic, which was what they shot the new Hobbit movie on. So we're going for a real 100% high quality Hollywood level film.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you were able to afford that camera. That camera is like, $100,000, isn't it?
Well, we had some connections. I've been an actor and a writer in the Bay Area for 14 years. So I've made enough connections that we found a crew that was willing to volunteer their time and services based on the strength of the script. They just really loved the script, and they wanted to do.
Wow.
Yeah, we still paid them, but we got them for a steal, and we're very, very lucky that they stepped up.
Oh, that is so wonderful. And I'm just so glad to hear that there's still people out in the Bay Area that are still willing to do that, because, it's tough being an actor, actress, any type of thing out in the Bay. I mean, anywhere, New York, San Francisco, LA. I mean, it's just tough all the way around. And lately, I got to say, the people in the arts aren't making a great living right now. People are not going to the theater as much as they used to. There's just, there's not as much money as there used to be in it.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It's unfortunate. The good thing is for actors in the Bay Area, there is quite a bit of commercial work, which is, it's great to pay the bills. But, if you really want to tell a good narrative story, you got to go to LA or New York or Chicago, or unfortunately, Vancouver, Canada is kicking our butt as far as films go. So we just
Tell me about it. I know. And, most of the TV shows are being filmed in Canada now, too.
Yeah. I mean, ironically, the ones that take place in San Francisco, like Monk, Monk is a huge show. It takes place in San Francisco, but it's all Vancouver. So we figured, we got some talented, passionate filmmakers and actors. Like, why don't we just tell our own narrative story and stop, relying on commercial work? So yeah, a lot of our commercial residuals actually went to paying for the initial filming.
Oh, that's great. I'm really glad to hear that. Well, wonderful. So now, can you tell us a little more detail about the plot? And is there any aliens or UFOs or anything like that in it?
Yes. Well, our central MacGuffin, or our central device that sends these characters to these parallel universes is Die Glocke, which I'm just going to call the Nazi bell because my German is terrible. But it's a pretty well-known military legend of this device that allegedly actually existed and was created by the Nazis at the end of World War II. And it was a 12-foot tall, bell-shaped object. And there's so many different theories about what this thing could have been. Nuclear reactor, a time machine, reverse-engineered alien technology, anti-gravity device. There's so many different theories. We decided we can kind of create our own lore around this device and, have a conceit that it's capable of sending people to parallel universes.
Wow. That's pretty cool. Okay. Now, have you done your research with all the UFO researchers out there? Have you read all their books like Nick Redfern? And I'm trying to think of all the people out there that did the research into the bell. I think, gosh, I'm looking at his face. I can't think of his name right now.
Yeah,
there's been a whole bunch of people writing books about that, and the Kecksburg incident. That's what I'm thinking of.
Yeah, there's one. I think it was called The Hunt for Zero Point. I'm sorry if I misquoted that, but I think it's The Hunt for Zero Point was the first book that was published in, I think, the mid 2000s, early 2000s, and that was the first revelation to the public of these secret documents that talked about the bell. But I'm a father of two young girls, so most of my research was Wikipedia. I just wish I had more time to do.
Oh, wild! Wow. Well, I donate to Wikipedia every year, so now I know it's going to a good source. For a good purpose. Thank God, huh? And that's really interesting. I'm just trying to think if so you're not a big like UFO kind of person, but this played into your script because of the parallel dimension time travel part of it, right?
And I've always been I'm more into conspiracy theories. The Illuminatus trilogy kind of blew my mind in my late teens. But also I'm mainly just a fan of genre sci-fi. I was raised on Indiana Jones and Back to the Future, so adventure, sci-fi. I always like to call this my combination of Back to the Future meets Indiana Jones. And I think you're really
cool.
kind of playing with both of those conceits in one film, which is really fun.
That is wonderful. Now, do we have a woman in this that's going to be like the love interest or anything?
Oh, yeah. Or Kelly Shane is an amazing actress who plays. Actually, I'm in the film too. I play the lead. She plays my wife Sadie, and it's interesting because, like I mentioned, in our 1945, this woman is a Navy nurse who's lost at sea. In this parallel 1945, there's an alternate version of her who's living with an alternate version of our hero Wes. And the interesting thing about it is that this alternate Wes has made some questionable decisions to align with the Nazis who are occupying the United States. So it becomes a question of, okay, if you did find yourself in this situation, what choices would you make to survive? And a lot of the questions are, what would you sacrifice to save your family? So yeah, there's some interesting moral conundrums brought up in the film itself.
Cool. Hey, did you see Predestination with Ethan Hawke?
No, it's on my to watch list. Have you seen it yet?
Oh my God. Oh, I was just telling people a couple weeks ago on the show, I was sitting in bed. I never even heard of the darn thing. And I'm slipping through the films I want to watch that night because I just took a night off. I never do that. I very seldom do that. And I thought, I'll watch a movie tonight. I'm just going to go to bed early and watch a movie. And I saw Predestination. I thought, I don't even know what this is about. I'm going to watch it.
And it's awesome.
And I started watching it and I was so blown away. It was one of the best. It's a little slow and, I could see why it didn't make it in the theater or whatever, but man, I'm telling you, if you're a time travel person, this was a wonderful movie. I was thinking about it for 4 days after I watched it. And I'm not going to tell you why I was thinking about it because everybody who watches it knows why, because there's some loose ends that don't make any sense, but I figured the whole movie out, but it took me like 4 days to figure it all out.
I love that. Yeah, it's kind of like Looper was the last time travel film that really blew me away, and it was a huge inspiration for my film.
Loopers was great. I have a whole list of time travel films, and there's a new one coming out tomorrow or the next day called Almanac or something.
Yeah, I've seen the previews for that, and it kind of looks kind of like a Disney-fied version of a really kick-ass time travel movie. I mean, I might give it a shot, but it looked more for like the teen crowd, but
exactly.
Give it a shot. Yeah.
I will save that one for some night in bed when I'm not going to pay money to go to the theater to see it.
Yeah, wait for next Netflix on that one.
Exactly. Yeah. Hey, any other time travel movies that I should know about? I probably have seen them, but and of course, Back to the Future is like our all-time favorite. Yeah. Like that's just like right up at number one forever, no matter what.
Yeah. I mean, Primer. Are you familiar with Primer?
No, I got to write that down. Primer, huh? Okay.
That's kind of the one that set the gold standard for independent sci-fi. It came out in, I want to say, the early 2000s. It's about these two entrepreneurs who are working on a project in their garage, and they accidentally create a time machine in their garage, and then it leads to these like crazy kind of plots to get money out of it, and they keep one-upping each other and deceiving each other, and it becomes this quest for greed. through deception using this time travel device, and it's very convoluted and very hard to follow, but it's amazing. Shane Carruth is the guy who did it, and they made the entire feature for I think $5,000, and it became this like underground cult sensation movie.
Oh my gosh. That is really interesting you said that, because on one of these like independent net sites, I found a series where this guy is just in his apartment, but things keep getting moved around, and then he finally realizes he's time traveling or something's going on in that. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I haven't heard of that. It's a cool conceit, though. I dig it.
But it took him like 3 episodes to figure out that it's him in the future.
Yeah. But it's funny because, there's a fine line between time travel and parallel universe travel. It's a different set of rules and a different vocabulary, but they're also very similar. I think one of the interesting things about our film is that both the protagonist and the antagonist, who's actually Hans Kammler, who was a real-life Nazi general who disappeared at the end of World War II, both
cool.
our hero and our villain, they're both trying to get back to their own universes or their own timelines. So it creates a very different dynamic when you have the two characters going for the same thing, essentially. Both want to get back to their families, which I think is where it is antagonist. That's very important, because you know what? That it truly is the kind of like catalyst for anybody. If I walked out my door tomorrow and something like that happened to me, I don't have anybody. So I would be like, okay, I can go anywhere and do anything. If I ended up on Mars in 500 years from now, when we're all living there as a colonist, I'd be fine with that. Oh.
But if I had kids right now, I think that all that would be on my mind would be, I got to get back to my own timeline. And that must be like, such a conundrum for the people writing the story, because that's the true soul of the movie, is everything wraps around their desire to be back into their normalcy, into their own time.
Exactly. And it was kind of a tricky situation because, again, we have Hans Kammler, who is this horrific nightmare of a human being. And yet, who's to say that he might have been a good father? Who knows? And we don't want to portray him as a good person. He's a horrible person. But to give him the impetus to like get back home to be with his family was really tricky and interesting. And I think it makes it a little bit dangerous and fun to watch, because you hate him because he's evil, but at the same time you understand him because he's a family man. So it's a really fun, tricky situation.
Wow, cool. Okay, now I was supposed to ask you a question. I gotta go find it here. It says you have some famous people in the movie. Is that? I don't understand that question.
We did manage to score this amazing actor named Anthony Sestaro, who played our villain Hans Kammler, and he's most known for the TV show Seinfeld. He played one of Elaine's boyfriends. There was an episode where she dated the guy who happened to have the name of a serial killer, a real-life serial killer named Joel Rifkin.
No.
And the kind of running joke throughout the whole thing is she kept trying to get him to change his name. So that's one of his claims to fame, Elaine's boyfriend on Seinfeld. He was also, most recently, he was the head villain in a TNT series called Witchblade. He was
cool.
The iconic villain on that series. My first introduction when I was a kid to him was on the TV show Cheers. He played Henri, who was the French antagonist of Woody Harrelson's character, who kept trying to steal his girlfriend Kelly, and he ended up buddying up with Sam Malone. So it's just crazy for me, who was like growing up as a kid in the 80s watching Cheers, to now suddenly be working with this amazing guy, Anthony Sestaro. It's great.
Oh, cool. That's wonderful. Well, congratulations on that. That's fantastic. Now, how's TruthFunders working out for you guys? Is it, I'm sure it's working. Are you getting on radio shows? Are you talking about this out there? How are you getting the word out?
Well, there's an amazing blog article that was written on the site itself, which I was really grateful for. It's very well articulated and written. And this is our second radio show. And I got to say, this one is going a lot better. We did the other one at 2 a.m. and I was basically on my fourth cup of coffee, just waiting for the call to begin. So I think it went well. I think it went all right. But this one definitely feels I'm more awake for this one. But yeah, we've been getting the word out.
Good, great. Now, how would I see this film when it's done? Let's backtrack. If I donate to the toll, will I be able to be at the screening? Will I be able to come to the red carpet premiere?
Yes, so it's a tiered reward system, and the minimum to actually receive an HD download of the entire film is a $10 donation.
Wow, cool. Okay, you're getting that for me tonight.
Yes, for sure. And then it's to actually get two passes to the premiere in San Francisco. It's a $50 contribution, so you get basically all the perks, $5 through $50, which is many perks, plus invitation for 2 to the premiere in San Francisco. For $50.
Oh, fabulous. I can't wait. I'm so excited.
And there's also, and this is Mark joining the call again, there's also, I don't know if you talked about it, but they're giving away, not giving away, but, if you donate a certain amount, there's props from the film that they're giving away.
Awesome.
Vintage World War II items.
Oh man, how do I get that? I just pay more bucks?
Yeah, pretty much. Multiple perks. You get perks $1 through $100 plus whatever prop you purchase. So it's never just one perk. You get multiple perks depending on which tier.
Oh my God, I'm so excited. I can't wait. I'm going to have to wait for my paycheck now because I've got to give you more money. I want a piece of the props. I want to be at the screening. I want to be in on it all because I love this.
How cool is that especially if you're into World War II, right? You donate to this guy's project, to Wiley's project. You are helping out a filmmaker. Let's say the film becomes sort of this awesome phenomenon. You have the actual jacket, and you helped make it. Yeah, you actually helped make history, and now you own this vintage World War II jacket that was actually used by one of the characters in the film. I just think that's such a cool idea. And that's the kind of things that
it has all the earmarkings of becoming a cult film on Netflix and all over the place.
Oh, totally.
Yeah, so that's cool. Hey, you guys, I hate to tell you this, but our time is up. So, Wiley, I'm going to have to let you go. But hey, everybody, and Mark, are you going to stick around for Jose Escamilla?
Yeah, I'll definitely introduce him and say hi.
Okay, wonderful. Great. And Wiley, wonderful to meet you, and we'll talk to you soon. And everybody stick around. We have Jose Escamilla coming up in the next hour. Hold on.
You're locked into Inception Radio Network, Superior, Wisconsin. Don't have a computer? Is your internet connection down? Don't worry. Use your trusty cell phone or landline and call into our listen line at 401-283-6700 to listen to the Inception Radio Network 24/7. Again, that call-in number is 401-283-6700. For the Inception Radio Network, I am MJ.
Are you a fan of Inception Radio Network? Do you reckon it's the best alternative talk radio station on the planet? Well, if you do, head to facebook.com/Inception Radio Network and like the page. Tell your friends, spread the word, and keep listening to the best.
Hello, Inception Radio Network listeners. This is Amanda. Remember, you can take your Inception Radio shows on the go. Just download the Inception Radio Network app for your iPhone, iPad, or Android smartphones and access live shows, past shows, guest lineups, and much more. Just visit the iTunes Store or the Google Play Marketplace and download it today for free. You didn't forget what's coming up tonight, did you? Hi, Inception Radio Network listeners. This is Amanda. Never miss that interview you were looking forward to or the show on your favorite topic. Follow IRN on Twitter, I_R_N, and get reminders about the evening's live shows as well as fun and important updates throughout the week. That's I_R_N, and never miss a great show again.
Hello, everyone. Lorien Fenton here, host of the California MUFON Radio Show, asking if you'd like special access to exclusive and amazing information about UFOs, the paranormal, and all things unexplained. If you're nodding yes, then join IRN's Insider Club. As an Insider Club member, you'll get an all-access pass to premier Inception Radio Network content for only $4.99 a month. This includes live UFO and paranormal conferences, live streaming UFO skywatches, exclusive IRN radio and TV productions, and of course, paying radio with MJ and Ken Storch. So don't wait any longer. Visit InceptionRadioNetwork.com and click on Member Login to join IRN's Insider Club and get your VIP access today. Welcome back, everyone, to the California MUFON Radio Show. I'm your host, Lorien Fenton. We're back here with Mark Schwartz from TruthFunders.com, and he's got another guest that is on TruthFunders.com right now. He's doing a new movie, I believe, a documentary or a movie. I'm not even sure. But Mark, are you with me?
I am, and so is Jose Escamilla, and he is, you've heard of him before. You might have heard of him as the Rod guy, but he has much more. I mean, he has so much. When I first heard of Jose, I was listening to Art Bell, and it was just this. I just felt a connection with him right away, and now he's creating a project on TruthFunders, which is fantastic because, you know, TruthFunders is becoming the place that a lot of people are creating their projects in the paranormal. And he has such a great idea and such a great movie. And I'm really going to let him talk about it because you'll hear when he speaks, he's just fascinating. All of the wonderful things coming out of his mouth.
And now, is this project up on TruthFunders right now so people can start donating to whatever it is we're going to be talking about this evening?
It is. We just went live with the project literally minutes ago. So you could be potentially the first person to donate if you donate now.
Great, wonderful. Well, I'm sure there's going to be a lot of people out there over the next hour that are going to want to, help out Jose and get whatever we're going to be talking about tonight up and going. So thanks, Mark, for being on the show. I really appreciate it and bringing all your people on from TruthFunders. And I just want to remind everybody, UFOCon 2015 is also up on TruthFunders. So if you want to help me out and you want to see all the people that are going to be speaking at UFOCon this year on March 28th and 29th, you can do so if you can't get there. I mean, I would love to see you there in person. That would be my first choice for sure, because I'd love to meet all of you. But if you can't, just donate over at truthfunders.com and you'll be able to see on different levels, the whole event. You'll get all kinds of goodies from me. I've got some special prizes for people. It just depends on how much you donate, and you'll get all kinds of fun stuff. So please do that. We're over at truthfunders.com as well. That's UFOCon. And Mark, thank you so much for making me a part of TruthFunders. I really thank you for that.
Yeah, I'm so glad that you created a project. The more people that we have creating paranormal projects, it's going to be the place where the community can help each other. I mean, where we can look at and see UFO documentaries being created about particular, moments in history. People doing cutting edge research. People doing writing wonderful books. Anything about the paranormal, this is the place. People will begin to talk about TruthFunders. I really feel it. I love it. I'm very passionate about it. And the reception from the entire paranormal community has been beyond what I, could have expected. We've been live now for 3.5 weeks, Lorien, and we've had over 4,000 people visit the site. We've had 650 followers on Facebook, which sounds small, but in a 3-week time to have that just start to, it's like growing every day, and more people are sharing it, and it's just so exciting. And I'm going to stop talking now and let Jose talk, because he is amazing, and I need to listen to him and be blown away.
Okay, great. Thanks, Mark. I'll talk to you soon. Take care.
Sure.
Bye-bye. Jose, are you with me?
Yes, I am. And to follow up with Mark, you know, a lot of people don't realize what a milestone this is because, you know, me, I'm a filmmaker, I'm a UFO investigator and stuff, and I've been doing this for like 20 years already, you know, researching the rods and making these films and everything else. But it takes funding to get these films made. I mean, it's a venture on our part. You know, we like to do this. We like to make the movies. We like to present the evidence as it presents itself, which is a major part of this whole scenario that we're talking about. But with Mark creating the TruthFunders organization, TruthFunders.com, it enables us, okay, to continue on with what we need to do. I mean,
oh, absolutely. Jose, your work is super important. And I know you've put a lot of your own time and energy into all the things you've done. And it'd be nice if we could get you funded because, you know, you're doing work that nobody else is doing, quite frankly.
And that's what it's all about. And I'm telling you, I am so excited about truthfunders.com because, you know, ever since Mark contacted me, I've been elated. I mean, me and my partner Curtis, who's the president of my company, we put together this program template for the fundraising for us, and I'm doing They Live in the Skies, which is about the rods phenomena. This is the final installment that I'll ever be doing on the rods phenomena because we finally, I don't know if anybody's followed us on the rods, but the rods for many years was a big thing, man. It was like the newest thing, the newest UFO on the block. And then along came Monster Quest and NBC and CBS, and they debunked me, man. They made rods out to be nothing but insects misfilmed in front of the camera. Well, as it turns out, we finally have, due to the technology that is at our fingertips nowadays, I mean, we now have the capabilities of filming rods, and we've captured rods. We finally got a rod captured on high-speed film, enough high speed that you can stop a bullet mid-flight. High resolution. Wow. I'm talking about 4K resolution, which is like, I mean, it's the highest resolution available right now on camera technology for filmmakers, and super slow motion. I mean, and 24p, which is 24 frames per second. There's no interlacing of video that debunkers can claim is causing the artifact. But we finally have a rod on high speed, super slow motion. It's the most important film ever done because we are now going to open up the paradigm. It's a paradigm shift. We now have absolute evidence of an unidentified, mysterious aerial phenomena that is now identified as being real for the first time.
Okay, Jose, I'm right with you, man. I'm right there because I was around in the Art Bell days when you did your first rods films, and I followed them with gusto, and I always believed they were real, and I'll tell you why. Because people who have extra rods and cones in their eyes that can see very much into the other or beyond the veil, as you want to call it, or a different dimension, or they can see more in our atmosphere than most people can see rods. They can also see molecules floating around in the sky. They can see all kinds of crazy stuff. And I've talked to these people, and they absolutely can see your rods. They don't call them rods. They call them extraterrestrial beings of sort. I don't know what they don't know what they are, but they are absolutely there. And I got to give you, a high five because you're one of the few people that's ever caught them on camera to prove to people that they're absolutely there. Yeah. Because to most people, you can't distinguish them from, just normal air. They can't see them.
Well, the other thing about it is that these things have been filmed in the oceans. Okay, I have underwater footage of rods.
What? Now, this is all new to me. That's wild. Go ahead.
Oh yeah. No. This is not the thing that you see well, you can see them with a naked eye once you know they exist. they are super fast. I mean, they're as fast as you can imagine. I mean, if you look at something in the blink, on the eye peripheral, something passes by in front of your eyes that's white or dark, then you must you suddenly saw a rod. I mean, these things, we have footage of them underwater, which is amazing. These things are just incredible, man, and they're so fast underwater as they are in the skies. Plus, we recently got footage of them on Mars.
Oh, now that's intriguing. Okay,
Yeah.
before we get to the Mars, that you've got footage of them on Mars, what I
Yes.
want to know is, have you guys figured out what they're made out of here on this planet?
We don't know what they're made of. They appear to be, possibly they could be plasma or a gelatinous type of material, you know, sort of like a jellyfish.
Sure. Okay.
We don't know what their true nature is. We do know that these things have a life cycle in the oceans. They have a life cycle in the skies. We have footage of them taken by the shuttle, all right, in space, of these things coming into Earth, man, from outer space. We have them.
Jose, how big is the average size of a rod? Are they teeny? Are they huge? I mean, what do we got here? All different sizes?
Yeah, anywhere from, I'd say, a foot long up to 100 or more feet in
Oh,
length.
my God.
Yeah. Yeah, the stuff that we have of them on Mars, and you know, we have rod shots of them flying into the volcano in Mexico. That's an active volcano, and these things are at least a mile in length or 2 miles in length. These things, and they're super fast. Okay.
Do you think they might be an entity, or do you think that they're actually some kind of device that carries many little rods together? What do you think about these mile-long ones?
I think that they are like aerial entities of some kind. I think they're living organisms because the behavior. I mean, we have them flying right at people and then avoiding contact at the last second. I mean, we have footage of them at this place called the Cave of the Swallows in Mexico. And there's these base jumpers that are jumping in there, and these rods are coming right at them, and at the last second just veer off, avoiding contact or collision. So they have some form of intelligence, whatever these things are. And they're massive. I mean, like I say, some of these are miles in length, and they're like whales, you know, in the sky. So it's amazing. Yeah.
That is amazing. Now, have you ever captured one going really slow or stopping? And here's the kicker. Have you ever captured one stopping next to a human?
Okay, we haven't done that.
Okay.
We haven't caught one stopping, but when you go on truthfunders.com and check out the trailer that I have up there, the promo, you're going to see a rod that flies downward on its side. You know, a lot of the negative things about what debunkers and critics are saying is that, they're just misfilmed insects traveling real close to the lens, going so fast that they cause a blur. That's been the biggest crutch. But when you look at that promo, and you can go there now, you'll see a rod that flies downward on its side. That's never been seen before, and it's a rod. You know, it's a long cigar-shaped object, but it falls downward. And I have other instances where this has happened at the Cave of the Swallows. Fox TV and I went down there, and we filmed a base jumper falling into the cave. Now, the base jumper is falling down at 120 miles an hour. It's a thing called terminal velocity, okay?
Okay.
That is the speed that a human body falls downward, maximum, depending on the weight of the body, but figuratively 98 to 120 miles an hour. So this base jumper is falling straight down. The camera is following him. He's in focus, and a rod flies in from camera left, or the left of the TV screen, flies downward also, okay, at 100 miles an hour, figure 100 miles an hour, falling straight downward, but traveling left to right and then making a U-turn and going back where it came from, all in a split second. And it's clearly in focus. I'm going to feature this in the movie, but it's extraordinary, man. These things are amazing, and they're real. That's what's the biggest thing.
Yeah, and you know, the interesting part about this whole thing, Jose, is there's a lot of detractors about, you know, whether they're real or not, and then you say they're real, and I'm not saying they're not. All I'm saying at this point is, how come so many people can believe at face value that a UFO exists and an alien exists, and they've never seen one, but they absolutely believe, like I did for, you know, 30 years, 40 years before I actually saw my first one. And then why can't I take into consideration, and I'm just talking about normal people out there, Jose, not me, because I've always thought that the rods were real. But I've seen a lot of things in my life, so I have a much more open mind to it. But all these people in the UFO and alien community, they sit there, they go, oh, yeah, this stuff's all real, but they can't take into consideration that possibly your rods are real. See, that kind of bothers me, because I think people need to have much more of an open mind to that there might be all kinds of different entities in our atmosphere and on this planet and running around. I mean, they think now that there's like 50 to 100 different types of aliens, but hey, everybody takes that for kind of at its face value because people talk about them. So you're talking about the rods. I think they should give you a fair shake on this one, and definitely your movie should be made. So that's just my take on it. I want to let you know that I'm in your corner, and I hope it gets done.
Well, yeah, this film is going to get done, and it is going to change the way people perceive UFOs. I mean, this is the absolute proof that I've needed for the last 20 years to prove that this entity is real and it exists among us. And we now have the footage. Hands down, no one will be able to refute this. No one will be able to debunk it. They won't be able to say, oh, it's just a misfilmed bird or an insect. No, man, this is the true evidence of an unidentified flying aerial phenomena that exists among us, hands down. So this movie is going to be groundbreaking. It's going to open up a lot of people's minds.
Do you think, Jose, that you'll be able to include some scientific, like measurements or different types of scientific examination in the movie so people can really understand that these things are real? So you can kind of measure them, so you can use infrared cameras. I mean, is there any way we can just like flat out prove to people that they are real with some scientific evidence?
Well, aside from the high-speed footage, which we now have, which is absolute evidence and proof right now, scientific, we are doing other tests, and we are presenting the rods in infrared, ultraviolet photography, and videography. And hands down, this is a very scientific film, man. This is it. This proves that there's an unidentified flying object among us that we now can identify and that we now can prove exists, hands down.
Great. Well, good. I'm glad you're including the scientific research because or the scientific way of analyzing it, because, you know, that's what we need nowadays. I mean, most people will say, oh, yeah, they've seen 500 pieces of footage of the lights in the sky. But, you know, no one wants to believe it until they actually land in their front yard and the aliens walk into their house now. So
well, imagine this. Imagine a UFO lands in front of the White House in broad daylight. And I'm the only one that films it, okay?
Right.
But nevertheless, it does land, and people see it, finally. Okay? That's what we have with this rod footage.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what we have. This rod footage, it's just as if a UFO landed in front of the White House in broad daylight for all to see. This is what we have, that kind of evidence. So it's amazing.
That's wonderful. Now, Jose, I don't know a whole lot about you. I have heard you on the Coast to Coast show in the past, and I love your work. But tell us a little bit about some of the things you've got that you've already produced that are out there for people to take advantage of and watch. And where can they go to see all your work?
Okay, well, I've been in the film business for like 35 years here in L.A. As a film editor and producer. And man, I've done movie trailers for a lot of the movies here in L.A. Back in the days of New World Pictures, Concord, New Horizon Pictures, Orion Pictures. I did a lot of the movie trailers back in the early 80s.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, that's what I was doing. My forte was movie trailers. I was good at producing out of nothing movie trailers for a lot of their movies. So I've been doing that for like 35 years. And I recently, in 1994, when the UFOs appeared, I was in Roswell, New Mexico, visiting my mom and my sister, Becky, and these UFOs showed up. I mean, it was March 5th, 1994. There was UFO activity happening at our ranch out, 9 miles south of Roswell. By the way, I grew up in Roswell, New Mexico.
Oh, that's interesting. Did you, not to break away from what you've done as a person in the last 20, 30 years, but did you see anything about the Roswell crash? Do you have any information? Do you know people? Anything about that real for you? Yeah,
I knew the Wilmots from Wilmots House of Toys. They're the ones that saw the UFO fly over Roswell that crashed from their back porch right there in Roswell. I knew them when I was growing up as a kid. I've had UFO sightings at Midway and Roswell since I was 9 years old.
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Now let me ask you a very poignant question about that. Do you think that is the aliens were in those UFOs, or do you think it was our military?
It wasn't the military. There's no way. I mean,
okay.
The UFO sightings, I've had 38 broad daylight UFO sightings right over in Roswell and Midway, and I filmed them all. Okay. Oh my God. 38, man. I've seen them with the naked eye, and I filmed them. That's one of the good things about me. And a lot of the stuff that we filmed was not military. It was definitely something else. Okay. And for anybody that thinks, well, we're so far advanced, we possess this alien technology. We may have the technology. And I think by now we probably have surpassed, the primitive aspect of us owning that technology, but we have not surpassed alien technology. Those things that I filmed in Roswell back in the 1990s, they were not military. They were definitely something else.
Can we see those films anywhere? Do you have them out in a movie or anything?
I have an ebook that I've released on my tblnfilms.com website.
Which, if I can break in for a second.
Sure, Mark.
Because I just wanted to say the ebook is also one, if you donate to the movie, that's one of the items that you get.
Cool.
So on TruthFunders. So if you go to TruthFunders and you donate, the ebook is one of those things. And Jose has probably a big list of really cool stuff he could tell you about too. That's awesome.
Cool stuff up there. And I got the official They Live in the Skies baseball hat and the T-shirt, rods, rings.
Oh, cool.
24 karat golden rings. 24 karat gold rings, man. I mean, yeah.
That's wild. Well, we're going to be coming up on a break here in about 30 seconds or so. So I just hey, Mark, can you hang out with us for the last half hour?
Yeah, definitely.
Wonderful. Great. And Jose, I'm really happy to have you on for the last half hour because I'd like to talk a little bit more about your moon movie. I know a little bit about that. I'd love to talk about it. And we'll talk more about what's on the TruthFunders site for is this going to be a documentary, Jose, or is it a full-length movie? I mean, what is it?
It's a feature film documentary. It's going to be about 70 minutes in length.
Cool. Okay, great. So we'll talk much more about that when we come back. Everybody stay with us. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
You're locked into Inception Radio Network, Superior, Wisconsin. Don't have a computer? Is your internet connection down? Don't worry. Use your trusty cell phone or landline and call into our listen line at 401-283-6700 to listen to the Inception Radio Network 24/7. Again, that call-in number is 401-283-6700. For the Inception Radio Network, I am MJ.
Hi, Inception Radio Network listeners. This is Amanda. Just a reminder that Inception Radio Network is on Twitter. Follow us at I_R_N, and keep up to date about who's on tonight, what interviews they'll be doing, who's guest spotting, what topics they'll be covering. Tweet to us, tweet about us, retweet topics to your friends, and most importantly, never miss a great show again. That's I_R_N.
Do you have a smartphone? If so, Inception Radio Network is the best app for you. Available on iTunes, Android, Samsung, and most other app stores. Just search Inception Radio Network. With the app you can listen live, check out podcasts of recent and past shows, view our videos, see what shows are coming up, who the guests are, and, via the chat room, send live questions to those guests. You know it makes sense. Check your app store now. Inception Radio Network. I'll see you there.
Are you looking for a cure for boredom? Never worry. IRN's new interactive website introduces a number of ways to pass time while you listen to your favorite show. Choose anything from the IRN chat lounge, the game lounge, video lounge, or the mood lounge. These fun, exciting features let you chat in real time with fellow listeners, view live skywatches, play daily posted online games, or pick a show based on topic. The choices are endless. Use your time wisely, keeping it all on IRN.
Hello, everyone. Lorien Fenton here, host of the California MUFON Radio show, asking if you'd like special access to exclusive and amazing information about UFOs, the paranormal, and all things unexplained. If you're nodding yes, then join IRN's Insider Club. As an Insider Club member, you'll get an all-access pass to premier Inception Radio Network content for only $4.99 a month. This includes live UFO and paranormal conferences, live streaming UFO skywatches, exclusive IRN radio and TV productions, and of course, paying radio with MJ and Ken Storch. So don't wait any longer. Visit InceptionRadioNetwork.com and click on Member Login to join IRN's Insider Club and get your VIP access today. Welcome back, everyone, to the California MUFON Radio Show. I'm your host, Lorien Fenton, and we're here. We got just a few minutes left with Jose Escamilla and my good friend Mark Schwartz from TruthFunders.com, and we're having a really good time tonight. We're having such a good time, we forgot to come back on air, folks. So,
I have to say something. Mark was mentioning about, people donating to the Paul McCartney thing. I have my own McCartney story, too, man. I'm a good friend of Jordan Maxwell. You guys know Jordan Maxwell?
I love Jordan. He is my hero, Jose, beyond belief.
Okay, well, I got to tell you something. That man, he and I and Roger Lear were very close. We're still very close. And unfortunately, Dr. Roger Lear passed away.
Yeah. Yes.
Recently. And he was a true dear friend of mine. But Jordan has told me about the Beatles and the Illuminati and everything else, and I go, holy mackerel, man! I didn't realize that the Beatles was a set-up deal. I was back in 2001. I was going to do a movie for Jordan, and it was called Dawn of the New Day. Okay, and that's kind of the Illuminati insignia, man. Dawn of a New Day. They always say it. There's a sunrise, the sun emblem. So the Beatles did Here Comes the Sun, and it's descriptive of the dawn of a new day, which is the Illuminati New World Order type scenario. And there's a music video. I didn't realize this. I did it until I did the promo for Jordan. Is that, Abe Lincoln and all these military guys, and Napoleon. You know how Napoleon has his hand inside his chest?
Mm-hmm. Inside the jacket, yeah.
Inside the jacket. Okay. That's an Illuminati sign.
Wow.
There's so many.
That you're part of the club.
Yeah, there's so many clues.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I didn't realize it until I saw the music video. I think it's either Strawberry Fields or one of those Penny
Or
Lane.
I'm the Walrus. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Paul McCartney puts his hand inside the jacket like that too.
Absolutely. That was on Sergeant Pepper's, I believe.
Yeah. And it's him showing the Illuminati that he's part of the club, man. I didn't realize this.
Oh, very interesting.
Until Jordan Maxwell pointed it out, and I go, holy cow, man. Lincoln did not do that, but all the other generals, they did the hand gesture inside the jacket, just like Napoleon. There's a lot of photographs from Civil War and even regular presidents from nowadays, but Paul McCartney did the same thing, man. So he's part of that club.
Yeah, if it was Paul McCartney, that's what the TruthFunders campaign is all
this
about.
is funny, you guys, because we've gone full circle now. We've gone all the way from rods to and now hopefully we're getting to the moon, because that's what I want to talk to Jose about now. Is, Jose, I was totally blown away by those pictures that you had that were colorized of the moon, and I gotta say, it's still to this day. Every time I look up at a full moon, I'm like baffled. I'm just so baffled. I'm just trying to figure out if the moon is really in color or if it's just reflecting white for some bizarre reason.
No. Let me tell you this. Up until February 2009, I was like everyone else on this planet. I believe that the moon is black and white and gray, and that there's nothing to it. It's just a rock orbiting our Earth, all right? But in February 2009, I started making a movie called Moon Rising, all right? And in that movie, I have a special effect that I wanted to make of us leaving Earth, the camera leaving Earth, and going into space and then going up real close to the moon. So that was a special effects CGI shot. Okay, I have a software program called Cinema 4D, which a lot of the major studios use to create a lot of the major special effects scenes in a lot of major movies. So I contacted friends that work in the special effects CGI arena, and I said, hey guys, these guys work on Star Trek, Battlestar Galactica, Star Wars. These are the guys that do the special effects for those films. I said, where do you guys go to get realistic planets like Jupiter, Saturn, Earth, and the moon that you present in Star Trek? Where do you guys go? All of them said, we go to mapaplanet.org. So I go mapaplanet.org, and they said, yeah, and what's cool is that all the planets are for free. You can download the skins. Now, the skins are each planet ironed out. Okay, the full circle it's just a flat map of the whole sphere of the moon, or the Earth, or Jupiter, or Mars, what have you. And it's brought to you by NASA. But mapaplanet.org is not a NASA website. It's the National Geological Survey website, the USGS. Okay, so there's no way I would have ever found the full color photography of the moon had I not seeked it out. And so when you go to mapaplanet.org, your listeners can go there right now, mapaplanet.org. Go there and click on the gray moon. That takes you to another landing page where you have 10 different aspects of photography of the moon. In the top row, dead center, is natural color of the moon. So in 2009, when I clicked on natural color, it forever changed my perception of the moon. Up until that day, I thought the moon, just like everyone else, was gray and black and white. And the reason it appears gray and black and white is because our atmosphere disrupts the color, the true color of the moon. All right? But once you leave the atmosphere, you are starting to see the moon in its full glorious spectrum, man. And I'm telling you right now, the photography that I present in all my moon movies, Moon Rising, Luna, and especially Celestial, it's all shot by NASA, all right? And it was shot in 1994, the latest photography. I downloaded 850 what I call panels that are 45 by 38 inches in size, huge, full color photography of the moon. And there were 1.8 million digital photographs taken in 94, but I've only downloaded the full moon as it is there on mapaplanet.org, which composes of 850 panels. And in those panels, I even found some incredible structures up there. All right? And there's no telling what else is in the 1.8 million digital photographs taken in full HD color by NASA. And China has taken a reconnaissance of the moon. India has done so, and so has Japan. But they're not releasing the true color photos. China did a press conference when they came back from the moon, and they did a whole press conference that had a big tapestry of the moon, the flat map, in full color, and then of the North and South poles. But at that press conference, the color photographs were taken and everything else. But when they released it to the public, they released it in black and white. And that's to perpetuate the myth that the moon is black and white instead of full color. The thing is in full color, you can see depth of perception of the moon's surface. What appears on the black and white photos from Apollo missions, which, by the way, a lot of the Apollo photography was taken in full color, but people don't know that, okay? I got all that stuff down. I downloaded it all. But in black and white, when you see stuff like that looks like moon dust, in color, you can see that those are clouds.
Oh, that's intriguing. Hey, I have a question. I have several questions from the chat room that I put in here for you, Jose, but I have one right now from Redshift, and he wants to know if they've ever taken any lunar pictures from the International Space Station that have no atmospheric interference.
Oh, yeah. I've got photography from the ISS, definitely. And you can tell that the moon is brown.
Wow.
It appears brown in the atmosphere. Another thing, too, that you guys got to check out is when you go to the Apollo moon archives, the Apollo Journal, a lot of the sky part of the moon photographs has been erased by NASA.
You know, that's pretty obvious, Jose. When I was doing my Photoshop classes back in the day, I realized looking at those pictures, someone just took a black mat and threw it over that.
Well, not only that, talking about Photoshop, I found out that 98% of all the Apollo moon photos have been tampered with. And, you know, in Photoshop, you have the magic wand tool, right?
Oh, yes.
Okay. When you have a regular photograph that is full of photographic emulsion, that means it's intact, okay? When you click the magic wand, say like, for example, in the sky section, it's just a little bit of it gets magnetized, all right? The whole scene, you have to keep on clicking, holding the shift key and clicking until you can map out the sky. A lot of the Apollo photographs, and you can go there and check it out yourself, get an Apollo photo and click in the dark sky, and it's clear. It's been erased.
Yep, absolutely. Absolutely, yeah. Because it's just so obvious. Nothing is that black. When you take a picture outside, even at night, it's not like that. Especially if you've got that kind of lighting underneath and around you. I mean, there's no way. There's just no way.
Have the emulsion thing that congregates the sky area. You know, it's just like the ground area and the sky area. That emulsion is part of the photo. But NASA, for some reason, has eliminated the sky area in 98% of the photos. They're taking out anything that was in the background, being, you know, big giant buildings or domes or pyramids, what have you. Whatever they erased it clearly, man. Yeah.
Hey, Jose, have you ever spoken to any of the astronauts?
They've avoided me like the plague. just like NASA has. NASA, I've contacted them. I've tried to get them to communicate with me, and they don't return my calls. They don't return my emails, and it's not surprising to me because I'm showing how they're faking everything.
Yeah, yeah. Well, the interesting part about it is, for me, is that you have a completely different take on it. You've been able to find these. Now, I'm not saying, Jose, I can't sit here and say they're absolutely for real. Maybe someone's pulling your leg by putting those up on the site. Do you know if these are absolute documented photos from NASA that weren't tampered with? I mean, how do we know that these color photos of the moon are for real, for real? Do we know?
Well, the one thing that I got to say, in my movie Celestial, which I released in 2012, I made an incredible find. First of all, I've been investigating the NASA journals, for many years, looking for photos and finding color photography and everything else. But the curious thing is, in 1994, there was supposedly a mission taking place called the Clementine mission. Where
I remember that. Yep.
Yeah. 1994, where we did a reconnaissance of the moon. This is where the 1.8 million digital photographs came into view. But I was doing a search, and I found a photograph that supposedly took place in 1972 during the Apollo 17 mission.
Mm-hmm.
This photo is identical, okay? Not similar. It's freaking identical to a photograph taken in 1994 during the Clementine mission of this one particular crater called Lobachevsky on the far side of the moon. So how could that be? How could a 1971 photo or 1972 photo be identical to a 1994 photo, unless they went into the future back in 1972 during the Apollo 17 mission. But these are two photos that are identical from each other. And I feature that in my movie, Celestial. So it's just, we just don't know what NASA has released prior to this and recently as to when it took place.
Yeah. Do you believe, Jose, that there's two NASAs, one for us and one for them?
Absolutely, yeah. There's the NASA that's controlled by the Department of Defense, and there's the NASA that tells us lies to the public.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you on that. I really don't know much about it. I've never done any research into it. And all my friends, quote unquote, that tell me things, I don't have any of them that have worked for NASA. So I don't know. But
and then there's the NASA that I'm presenting that delivers the truth. In my movie, this is the NASA that we should have had all along, and I'm doing that for them. I'm bringing you guys the evidence that the moon is not a black and white orb. Instead, it's a celestial body that's full of color and full of structures and all sorts of wondrous things, man. It's a real deal. So,
well, everybody that I've talked to that has been an experiencer, and do you know who Niara Isley is?
I've heard the name.
Okay, she's an experiencer that swears up and down that she was taken to the moon with two other military people, two men, and herself were taken up there, and they actually worked on a base for about 2 weeks. Wow. And then she was brought back, and she says that there has been people on the moon working up there in our military for a very long time.
I believe it. I absolutely believe it. I don't think I don't think that's a false story at all. From what I've seen on the surface of the moon, there are things up there that somebody built, and it wasn't us. And if it was us, wow, we're doing miraculous things up there. But yeah, I do believe that.
Yeah, it's hard for me, Jose, being just the little person I am down here, and I've only seen one UFO my entire life, and I just saw it recently, so I'm trying to be on the fence about everything. But, the more I talk to her about her experience and how real it was for her, I got to say something's going on. And I don't know, I'm still on the fence about the whole thing about whether we're all having this happen within our consciousness, and maybe in a 3D reality, we aren't really going to the moon, but maybe in her brain, they've wired it such that she absolutely believes she was, just like the Matrix. where you're actually feeling, hearing, smelling, and doing, but, they've got you in a chair somewhere where they're actually making you have these memories. Who knows? It's just so hard to say. I think consciousness is the key here, though. But in a 3D reality and the movies that you're making and the things that you've discovered, I have a tendency to lean towards the fact that there are pyramids on the moon. There are bases on the moon. There are other entities on the moon. I've heard they've been doing mining up there for thousands of years.
Oh, man, I've got photography on the moon of solid gold mountains. I mean, there's even an arc, a solid gold arc that exists right there on the front side of the moon. Mining is going on. I also have photos of pyramids on the moon, all in full color, brought to you by your local NASA. And here's another thing. It's all about perception, okay? Check this out. I'm doing a movie right now with Sean Stone, Oliver Stone's son. He's narrating it. It's called UFOs from Outer Space. And
cool.
It's entirely about UFO footage and photography taken by NASA and foreign space agencies in outer space. There's not one video clip in this new film of anything shot from Earth, okay? This is all footage taken by NASA since the 1950s, all right? Since the beginning of space flight, the 1950s.
Unbelievable.
I have footage of the missions. Of the X-15 flights took place in 1952, 53, around there. And this is where, the pilots with the right stuff, from that movie.
Yeah.
These are the guys that flew into space on this this aircraft called the X-15. Well, their mission was not only to break the supersonic record, but also to film UFOs. That was part of their missions. And I've got that footage. It's going to be released in this movie. Plus, there's photography of things in outer space that'll just freak you out. Talk about...
oh, my God. Jose, you are freaking me out.
There are things out there called space cables, and these are beyond the sun. I don't know if anyone's heard of those, but these things are 1 million miles in diameter, so to speak, and 1 million or so miles in length, and they go up and down. And these are being photographed by NASA right now in space on the far side of the sun. And we don't know who built these cables. We don't know whether they are transporting things, but they're 1 million miles in diameter. Imagine that.
Oh, my God. Oh, my God. Well, Jose, our time is almost up. I hate to say it, but hey, Mark, is there anything else we need to tell people about how they can help Jose and they help Wiley and help me and everybody else at, at truthfunders.com? What can we do about that?
Absolutely. So go to truthfunders.com, check out all the projects, read them all, play with them all, watch the videos. Jose has an amazing video that you can see on TruthFunders exactly what he's doing, and you can see these rods. Help contribute, please. Please donate, $5 or $10 to a campaign. You're helping somebody. You're spreading good karma. And at the same time, you're getting cool stuff in return, and you're helping the paranormal community. So definitely do that. If you have no money, if you're like, I'm totally broke, but I want to help, if you like us on Facebook and share our posts, or go to the campaigns themselves that you like and share those links on your Facebook walls, on your Twitter walls, all that stuff, everything helps. Every little piece of it helps. So you can do all of it. You can donate and share. You can just share. You can just donate. But don't just sit there idly. This is the chance for something like this to actually happen and to take place.
And Mark, we need to tell everybody to listen to the podcast too.
Absolutely. So TruthFunders has a podcast. It's a weekly podcast, and we have 3 episodes that are out. We have a 4th one coming out within, I think, the next day or so. Right. And then I definitely have to have Jose on there. And what we do is we talk about some of these projects a little bit more in depth. So if you want to know a little bit more, and you're so close to, donating $5 or $25 or $100, but you want to learn more about the project, we're hoping our podcast can open that up, and you can learn more about these projects.
And there may be surprises too. There may be things going on with the podcast that are going to be lots of fun.
Definitely.
We'll just drop that hint now. So, okay, everyone, thank you so much for being with us tonight. Thank you, Jose and Mark. I really appreciate it. And truthfunders.com, you guys check them out. They are really doing an amazing service here for the paranormal community. And I hope you guys check them out and help everybody out there. So I'll see you next week.